Hey guys, before we dive in, just a quick note. So today is June 19, 2025. A YouTube channel called Lenny's Podcast is pretty popular in product marketing and AI. He just dropped a new video this morning about prompt engineering. And yeah, I know you have probably heard people say like prompt engineering is dead, but the truth is that actually it's become more useful, especially when you are building like workflow apps. And the podcast guest, he is one of the popular earliest prompt engineering creator with both OpenAI and Google. Super sharp stuff. That's why I'm still doing this series of video in the middle of 2025 to promote some really creative prompt, special case design and techniques. And I think that can be inspired for you. If you have not checked my previous video, I'll put link below and you can find in the community as well. And the Lenny's video doesn't just talk about prompting, it dives into the AI safety, prompt leak, injection. Highly recommend you check it out. Today, I want to share some creative prompts and specialized techniques that might help you get better results. Just don't get me wrong, when I say creative, I don't mean something complex or overly clever or something innovative. This prompt just help you think differently, work better for specific situations. I will walk you through 4 prompts today I have used regularly. They have helped me get clear and focused outputs across a bunch of different tasks. That said, prompts are not everything, and sometimes it's just combo. Prompt plus the right model settings, the tools, the parameters, or coding that get the job done. So don't limit yourself to just one approach. And let's dive into the first case, term-driven precision prompt. For example, I'm coming from non-technical background and English is not my first language, and when I start building tools like using GitHub or Cursor, I didn't know what a pull request was, what a front-end background, what is Next.js or React. So even when I had a question, I didn't know how to ask it properly. I just feel stuck. But after prompting every day and learning from great example, I realized if you want GPT to give you more personalized and actionable answers to solve your problem, you need to define and learn key industry insider terms first, for the purpose of knowledge activation. Just like in real life, the more specific your context, the closer you get to the real solution. Say you have AI product for launch. Okay, so you want more customer sales through marketing. Think about it. Could you explain that clearly in one chat? Is your prompt clear enough that the answer can actually tell you what to do next? Just for example, instead of saying, how do I grow my product effectively in low cost? Try, I'm building an AI SaaS for B2B teams. How can I use organic marketing to drive top of the funnel of traffic and measure success with Google Analytics 4 and leverage marketing automation? That one sentence gives GPT a precise reference frame. It trims confusion and gets you sharper and more relevant response. Actually fits how things works in the real world. I'll show you prompt how I get here. I have created one meta prompt and I will post in the comments so you can apply for all your cases. Great, let's go back to the prompt in ChatGPT and see how I designed this. So this is a meta prompt. It means you just need to copy whole prompt here and just put in your text. For example, my task is I showed in the video and I'll show the result later. So basically, you just set the role as knowledge activation planner. Job is not to solve the problem, not giving me any solution, but structure and illuminate the domain. Because as I said, we want to get some insider terms, so these 3 sections are important, like expansion the domain, identify the field, and intent translation. And I also include the visual map and task flow and term glossary. It helps you quickly understand the relationship and the term meaning. Then it will help you guide another reflection prompt to give you more hints for the follow-up question. My task is how do I grow my product effectively in low cost? Then the whole result is pretty clear. Like I really like this part, intent translation. It helped me to translate all my general keyword into something like marketing terms, because this field is more like go-to-market strategy, right? You want to bring more traffic, more customers. Then it helped me to explain one by one, for example, the user behavior on the channel, network effect. If you're not a marketing guy, you probably just don't understand these words. And then you will have the visual map. And then I set as mind map, but you can feel free to change the prompt to set any visualization way you like. And I highly recommend you use mark map. This is a tool can give you online editor to show the mind map. For example, we give the mind map and then turn my mind map into the vision I can use in mark map. So I got this result pretty clear. Okay, so this is what our prompt gave us. This is goal, the first structure, and the breakdown. But you can adjust this flexibly based on your prompt and based on your specific context. Then we back to the prompt side. Okay, my favorite part is task workflow. It gives you the expert insider lens to view the problem, how it should be solved step by step. For example, I'm a marketing guy. I know a lot of founders when they consulting with me, they just ask like, can I use my linking? Can I use some like linking spam, or can I use Instagram paid ads? Can I use some specific channels to reach out my audience? Then they always skip the step 1 and step 2. This is very important, and also a lot of founders fail when product launch, because if you just dive into these things, you're just trying to get a result quickly but not think as a loop. You should think of your core value loop. Then you can draft your message, what's your product about, and also set up very solid activation and onboarding stage as a foundation. Then you can move to like your media side, your marketing strategy side. So basically this prompt gives me very expert level task flow, how I should do these things. Highly recommend you guys try. Then term glossary help you give a kind of dictionary, what are those meaning and some expert nuance. Then reflection prompt. So basically this prompt, I have tuned like maybe more than 10 times to get this version with O3 model, but now it's pretty clear. Let's take another example. If we want to switch another task, then we see the result. Also remember the model still the 4.0, the very basic one. Then still got the same structure and the intent translation. Oh, by the way, for example, when you're building something with cursor, if I found out I cannot explain the concept clearly, I always use this prompt, then I copy paste this part in my PRD or in my cursor chat. So it helped me explain the intent very clear. And then you see the task workflow. The first step is always important to audit instead of just move and build. Then we found out it gives us a lot of jargons that are pretty helpful to understand this. Then you just use this prompt to initialize a good context in this window to set the tone for your follow-up questions. So I highly recommend if you have any questions, just dive into this context window. Will give you more valuable feedback than something in general. The next creative prompt is called Lisp language inspired system prompt used in Cloud model. So at the first glance here, it looks like a code, but technically it borrows syntax from Lisp language, one of the programming language earlier, and play a role as symbolic blueprint. And let's see this example of transforming any problem into a new perspective as a purpose. So we set at the first line. Then I will help you guys define and break down each function, and you can understand what is Lisp language used and why people call it an elegant way to show the logic and structure. Let's start with first line. The required dash in the actual Lisp language prompt, it means it loads a dash library so I can use the function in it. But in our prompt, it doesn't rarely load a library. Instead, it signals like this prompt is going to use expressive, clean functional logic. And I have prepared a list of the functions I used in this prompt, and it helps you define the name and the meaning. If you can pause the video here to understand how it's structured and what does that mean of each, it helps you understand why Lisp is the highly structured and logic way to express the orders and relationships. So let's back to the prompt. Then you will see define just means you define a section. For example, if you using the natural language prompting, this section just you help define the role. In this case, because we want to have a different perspectives, then we define a clever spread as a role. And then I use list means a group of attributes, for example, the experience, the skills, and expression of the clever sprite. It's pretty smart so that I include a lot of context about this show. And then the second define is the define the core principle, how this mirror worked. So for example, the main task is find that unique perspective of the observation. And you see here's light, and here's another symbol. Then we refer the dictionary. You see the light means sequential binding. It's by the variables one by one, and you see the thread first macro. It helps us to pipe result in first argument of next function. Then back to this, so you can understand as we combine thinking perspective, response, and generate card as the whole sequential logic. And in the first thinking perspective, we use macro to let the perspective be through in different lengths. When I have the user input, it goes first scale shift and then second cross disciplinary and use concept from other domain. The third transform is more like edge case, then system prompt, then reverse thinking. So it goes from the first to the last because we use this symbol. Then the third define, we want to generate card. It's like the UI thing. So based on the user input and the response, generate the whole card. Then you give some parameter of the card. And the last define, it means the start function to initiate the engine. If you're just giving this prompt to other users, then they just copy paste this prompt. The user will understand the purpose is here. And the last section is set up the execution order. For example, you want to highlight something to run the start function first. And after receiving the user input, call the main function we defined, and then must have output format to have the card. And do not explain anything. By having this execution order, let the model strictly followed. And then let's go back to Claude to see what happened if we use this. Let's back to Claude. So the version I use is Claude Sonnet 4. Then we just copy paste this prompt exactly to the Claude. It just say the start with the purpose. Let the new user understand what it is. Then I ask a quick question, what is GitHub? It should transform into a perspective like this. The library perspective, because our function is mirror of perspective, so we shouldn't get anything like technically, right? And you also can view the whole code. You can copy this, paste to your website to generate card every day for your blog, for your UI components. It's pretty structured and beautiful. And I do not edit anything, just use it one shot. Also, you can put your slogan, logo, daily quote here for easy case display our community website. So we can see it transformed the GitHub concept to a library perspective. It's interesting to say think of GitHub as the world's largest collaborative library. Instead of books, but store recipe for building software. It's like a poem because of the way define the role as clever smart. So we have these logics to transform different perspective and merge them together as a response. And for example, another question more like, what should I leave behind for the world? It's use repo perspective. It gives bullet points. It gives some quotes and websites. Okay, so the code, great. But if you want more beautiful design, I have another version. For example, like this. Same question, what is GitHub? But now we added some color lines and use arrow. I just put the new section here called require visual format. You can see the typography, colors, different sections, subheaders. Also, you can merge this part into the define as a visual scene. Change some parameter here, you can merge them together, but for my easy case, I just show you guys here. Then you can just do the screenshot to promote on your social media as or your blog picture. I prefer Lisp language prompt. I prefer Lisp style prompt because they are more compact, clearly, and structure elegant. They use symbols to reduce tokens, to replace repetitive logic, Unlike Markdown, JSON, XML, Lisp highlights order, flow, relationships. It's made for logic, not just layout. Ever feel like ChatGPT just clapping for you? Like you ask something, it responds like, "Oh, great idea," or give you some clean, polished answer. That feel good, but not real. So you leave the chat more flattered than challenged. And you are not crazy, you just fell into what I call the echo trap. It's when the model stops being your thought partner and becomes your headman. That's how you hallucinate, and that's how you confuse clarity with confidence. That's where the metacognitive prompt comes in. It breaks the autopilot. It tells ChatGPT, "Hey, think with me. Question my assumption. Help me find a better answer. Not just finish the one I give you." Use this when you are exploring like life's principle, design strategy, entering a new domain. I mean, thinking model like all three, and in how you frame the question, how you define the terms, and how you bring the bias and assumptions into the chat. That's why I use this metacognitive prompt here. And I put the prompt in the personalized settings in my account. Each time I prompt a question format or looking for explore, then GPT doesn't respond. It helps me think deeper and more structured. Let's say example here. So the only thing you need to enable it, just open the personalize in your account and just paste the whole prompt in this section. And also you can clarify your name and what do you do here. Then just enable for new chat and save. So you will see the whole prompt. Let's see the difference here. Let me show you a quick question I ask without the metacognitive prompt. This question basically like, I want to know how the growth marketing strategy works and help AI product launch. Many people have this question, right? If we don't have the meta prompt using general prompt, so basically it introduces this concept and gives some table with terms and instruction and solution driven. Give some example and a summary. Be honest, through different prompting, I don't quite like this style because it does not help me to think. Because I have asked several questions continually. Like I try to explore more detail, but for me, this is too general, not actionable. With the meta strategy, it gave me a lot of question and I can think and reflect myself. It kind of reframed the question why and when the growth matters, like how it shifts across life cycle stage, what to avoid, what to design first. It mapped the meta model, clarified terms, and the normal answer would be like chatbot offer solution with template. No any new thought added and expressed, but this metacognitive prompt approach ask me questions and let me reflect. If you feel like it's not your style, that's fine. You can always switch off by opening your personalize and just remove this or turning it off it. So I'm pretty sure everyone uses large language model to write something, for example, especially things like marketing posts, business replies, or customer outreach. Tone style matters. Many people try to fix it by adding lines like avoid chatbot tone or make it sound human at the end of their prompt. That works sometimes like in newsletter, but in real conversation or community like Reddit, it often falls flat. Reddit, for example, has very strict moderation, and many subreddit or their community auto-ban AI-like content because it sounds like too polished. Bots and detector look for patterns. There are two metrics: low perplexity, it means too smooth, and low burstness, it means not enough variation. In other words, it's obvious when someone reads like a machine, perfect grammar, no personality, no emotion, no any like natural rhythm, right? But how do we fix that? I found one of the most effective ways to avoid sounding like AI or avoid detection, which is just click many real Reddit user comments, study their phrasing, tone, style, subreddit rules, and slangs. Distill them all of them into a template. Then I feed those templates into the models to learn and ask the model to mimic the human imperfection. Use various sentence lengths, sprinkles in emotion, even some harmless little flaws. That's not failure, that's how people actually talk and tap in the community. But later I discovered an even easier method using deep search. Firstly, and revising prompt next step. By this, I mean tapping into the model ability to simulate what you found after hours reading real user-generated content. Google and Perplexity search model give the best context-rich outputs. Let me show you here. Since we landed on Google Gemini, and we just open the deep search function and give this prompt. This prompt is pretty simple, use natural language. The main task is just like grab popular posts as possible, analyze language structure, writing style, and revise, modify the following prompt that I will give the later. Then I just do the task, then I just click start. It probably just took maybe 5 to 10 minutes, help us understand those two metrics showed here, and give all the key terms or linguistic analysis on Reddit. It's pretty helpful, right? And also you can view the sources. You see it's almost scraped more than 10 Reddit and other about the metrics blog and how to avoid. It will help you reduce a lot of time on crawling and collect. So usually after I get this detection report from the Gemini, I just to copy paste some of the use cases it provided, and there are some good techniques I will use. Gemini returns us the research results, and then we can let Gemini summarize into one good prompt and return back to us. And finally, this is one I got that probably help you guys understand. It just revised by Gemini. Then it shows instructions and some style from the Gemini research report, and also add the imperfection part. So I believe this prompt is pretty helpful for the Reddit case to bypass a lot of AI detector. I use this prompt to let Gemini write a message to help me promote AI Builder Club. Then I got a result pretty interesting. This one, like some short and long sentence, rhythm, and AI Builder Club, using some slangs, brackets, and another version more direct, short. I mean, these promotion messages are pretty interesting, and I definitely will use them to help us to promote the community. Alright guys, that's all for prompts that I want to share today. Hope you love it and enjoy it. And what kind of prompt you frequently use in your AI agent, AI workflow? Just comment below. See you next time.